In a courtroom on the brink of chaos, a man facing a looming 20-year sentence made a shocking split-second decision that defied every expectation. Consumed by inner torment and weighed down by a lifetime of missteps, he abruptly rebelled against an unyielding magistrate whose quiet resolve pierced the tension in the room. Vast realm of learning. New brings you this electrifying moment where raw emotion collides with steadfast authority, setting the stage for a twist that will leave you yearning to learn what unfolds next. The trial unfolded with an almost unbearable tension that gripped every soul in the courtroom. Charles Whitaker, a man whose life had been marred by a trail of missteps and poor decisions, sat rigidly at the defendant's table. His eyes darted anxiously around the room as each piece of evidence was laid bare. Grainy surveillance clips, conflicting eyewitness accounts, and the ever-present shadow of a long criminal history. Every detail, no matter how small, compounded his inner turmoil as he realized that each moment brought him closer to a future defined by regret and confinement. Judge Ellis, a figure whose calm authority had already challenged the very fabric of the room's power dynamic, presided with unwavering poise. In her measured gaze lay the weight of countless decisions made in the pursuit of justice. As the prosecutor, Leslie Hay, meticulously detailed the case against Charles, her voice resonated with conviction and precision. Each word she uttered seemed to underscore the inevitability of the consequences that awaited him. Meanwhile, Charles's defense attorney, George Patterson, remained a quiet presence at his side, his scribbled notes reflecting a subdued hope that might never have been enough to counterbalance the overwhelming force of the evidence. Within Charles, a maelstrom of emotions churned relentlessly. He attempted to summon his long-rehearsed lines of defense, a plea for redemption, a desperate appeal to a family that depended on him, and the hope that somehow these heartfelt declarations might soften the harsh reality of his actions. Yet as he struggled to articulate his remorse and his aspirations for change, his voice wavered under the weight of the mounting pressure. His every word was met with the steely silence of the court, a silence that grew louder with each passing second. The courtroom's atmosphere was charged not only by the severity of his alleged crimes, but by the palpable sense of inevitability. He was cornered, his fate sealed by the very system he now bitterly confronted. As the minutes wore on, the relentless barrage of evidence began to crush any semblance of composure he had managed to cling to. Charles felt the walls of the courtroom closing in on him, the air thick with the collective judgment of those present. His heartbeat pounded in his ears, drowning out even the measured cadence of Judge Ellis's instructions. It was in this crescendo of desperation that an unforeseen surge of uncontrolled anger erupted from deep within him. With a force born of pure despair and a final, futile bid for liberation, he abruptly rose from his seat. In that electrifying moment, every contained emotion, fear, anger, frustration, coalesced into a single, reckless act. Without a trace of deliberation, Charles lunged forward, his hand driven by the tumult of years spent feeling marginalized and cornered by fate. He shot out in a desperate bid to seize control of the narrative. The courtroom, already teetering on the edge, plunged into chaos. Gasps and shouts filled the air as the unexpected violence shattered the solemn order that had reigned until that moment. Even the seasoned bailiff, whose presence was meant to serve as a buffer against such eruptions, was momentarily stunned by the ferocity of the act. But Judge Ellis was not a figure to be easily overwhelmed. in a fraction of a second that seemed to stretch into eternity, her response was as decisive as it was composed. With a subtle yet deliberate motion, a single precise gesture of her hand, she signaled the bailiff into action. In that instant, the chaotic swirl of emotions was met with a calm authority that cut through the bedlam. Charles's outburst was halted, his moment of reckless abandon frozen in time by the steadfast resolve of a woman who embodied the very essence of justice. Her voice, when it finally broke through the din, was neither raised in anger nor softened by pity. It was measured and clear, carrying a weight that resonated with every heart in the room. Your actions here today speak not of strength, but of deep vulnerability, Judge Ellis stated, her words penetrating the tumult like a well-honed blade. The quiet reprimand was not delivered out of cruelty, but as a stark reminder of personal accountability, a call for Charles to recognize his own role in the path that had led him here. The true measure of power lies not in losing control, but in the capacity to face one's own mistakes with honesty and resolve. In that charged moment, the courtroom's atmosphere shifted perceptibly. Spectators who had earlier watched with bated breath now bore witness to a transformation that transcended the mere mechanics of legal proceedings. Here was a scene where the dynamics of authority and redemption played out in real time, a reminder that justice, in its true form, is not a tool for punishment alone, but a force that can illuminate the path toward personal growth and healing. Even as the bailiff restrained Charles, the judge's unwavering composure left an indelible mark on everyone present, an unspoken lesson about the power of self-restraint and the significance of owning one's actions. As the proceedings resumed, the evidence continued to speak, weaving a narrative that was as uncompromising as it was heart-wrenching. The witness, a middle-aged woman whose trembling voice carried the weight of her own scars, stepped forward to recount her ordeal. Her testimony, raw and unfiltered, painted a vivid picture of the pain and vulnerability inflicted by Charles's actions. Each word resonated deeply with the assembled crowd, transforming the courtroom into a space where the realities of human frailty and the need for redemption were laid bare. Amidst the renewed focus on the facts of the case, there emerged a subtle yet profound understanding among those present. The events of the day had transcended a mere legal battle. They had become a crucible for examining the intricate relationship between accountability and transformation. Judge Ellis's unyielding stance and compassionate insistence on facing the truth underscored a critical message: that every individual, no matter how far they have strayed, holds the potential for change. But that change can only begin with a recognition and acceptance of personal responsibility. Charles, now subdued and stripped of the fleeting adrenaline that had fueled his rebellion, was left to grapple with a stark internal reckoning. The quiet strength of the judge's response had not only disrupted his desperate attempt to manipulate his destiny, but had also forced him to confront the reality of his own vulnerability. In that moment, the court was not just an arena for meting out punishment, but a place where the seeds of future rehabilitation might yet be sown. A reminder that while the law stands firm, it also has the power to inspire introspection and ultimately change. Every detail of that day, the tension in the air, the sharp turn from chaos to order, and the unforgettable interplay between raw emotion and measured justice, served as a powerful testament to the transformative nature of true authority. Judge Ellis's steadfast presence had not merely restored order, It had redefined the very essence of power within those walls. And though Charles Whittaker's fate now seemed irrevocably intertwined with the consequences of his actions, the unfolding events illuminated a vital truth: that the journey toward redemption begins with the courage to face one's own reflection in the mirror of accountability. In this charged narrative, every heartbeat, every whispered judgment, and every decisive gesture contributed to a story that was both cautionary and hopeful. A story that challenges us to understand that while missteps may lead to dire consequences, they can also serve as catalysts for profound personal growth. The classroom of life, as witnessed in that courtroom, holds lessons that extend far beyond the rigid confines of legal proceedings. Here, in the crucible of raw human emotion and unwavering justice, the enduring message was clear. The strength to rebuild a shattered life lies not in a moment of rebellion, but in the quiet resolve to face the truth and ultimately transform despair into a commitment to change. In the quiet aftermath of the turbulent trial, a profound shift began to take root. As Charles sat alone in the holding area, his inner storm gave way to a sober recognition. Every misstep carries a weight that demands facing up to one's past. His journey, a tapestry woven from regret, confrontation, and the steady force of unyielding justice, revealed that real transformation emerges when accountability meets inner resolve. Throughout the proceedings, every charged moment and every decisive gesture served as stepping stones toward a new awareness. The resolute presence of Judge Ellis, whose calm authority transcended chaos, left an indelible mark on everyone present. For Charles, the experience was a stark reminder that even in the depths of despair, the possibility of renewal exists, once one dares to confront personal shortcomings. His newfound clarity, born from the echoes of that unforgettable day, hinted at a future where redemption might yet be possible. Thank you for watching this compelling chapter on Vast Realm of Learning. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and help us reach 10,000 subscribers.